Yes, Lord, we give God all the glory, the praise, and the honor. Come on, let's take a few moments and just give him glory and honor because he's worthy. He's worthy of praise. Yes, God. Yes, God. You're worthy, 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 worthy. Yes, God. He's worthy, 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 worthy. Yes, God. Hallelujah. 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 Yes, Lord. The splendor of the King, and clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light, y'all, and darkness tries to hide. They tremble at his voice, they tremble at his voice. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And oh, see how great is our God. Come on and clap those hands right there. People know we serve a great and mighty God. We serve a good, good God. Yes, God. Yeah. From age to age he stands, and time is in his hand. The beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three and one. Father, Spirit, and Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? And all will see how great is our God. To age he stands, and time is in his hand, beginning and the end, beginning and the end. The Godhead three and one and one and one, the Father, Spirit, and Son, the Lion and the Lamb, the Lion and the Lamb. Say you're the name above, and you're worthy. And my heart, Lord, yeah, yeah. Say it again, you're the name. Say, you're worthy of the praise. And my heart will. I lift my hands to give you praise. I lift my hands to give you praise. I'll praise your name. I'll praise your name. So will you praise? Yeah, yeah. I lift my hands to give you glory. I lift my hands to give you praise. And I'll praise your name. And I'll praise your name. So I'll praise your name. So I'll praise your name. So I'll give you glory. So I'll give you glory. So I'll praise your name. So I'll praise your name. So I'll praise your name. I'll praise your name. I'll praise your name. I'll praise your name. So I'll praise your name. So I'll bless your name. So I'll bless your name. So I'll bless your name. Yeah. Say great. Say great. Say great. Great. Say great. Great. Great is our God. Great is our God. Say great is our God. Great is our God. Yeah. Say great is our God. Great is our God. Say great. 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 Say great is our God. Great is our God. Say great is our God. Great is our God. He's holy. He's great. He's mighty. He is my God. He's holy. He's worthy. He's mighty. Great is our God. Say great. Great. Say 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 great is our God. Great is our God. Say great is our God. Yeah. Great is our God. Yeah. Say great and mighty. Holy and righteous. Great and mighty. Holy and righteous. Loving and kind. Loving and kind. Loving and kind. Loving and kind. Say great. Great. Say great. on and clap them hands right there. Clap them hands right there. Great and mighty, 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 great and mighty. Great and mighty, 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 great and mighty. Great and mighty, 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 and the people of God went up. Great and mighty, great and mighty, great and mighty, great and mighty. Holy, 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 mighty, 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 great, 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 holy, 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 holy. Hallelujah. You have won the victory. Death could not hold you down. Death could not hold you down. Death could not hold you down. No. Death could not hold you down. You are the risen King, seated in majesty. You are the risen King, my King, my King, my King. Your throne is forever. Your throne is forever. Your throne is forever. Your throne is forever. You're an everlasting God. You're an everlasting God. You're an everlasting God. You're an everlasting God. Yeah. Your throne is forever. Your throne is forever. everlasting God. You're an everlasting God. Everlasting God, yeah. Your throne is forever, 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 forever and ever. Your throne is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Your throne is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Your mercies are forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. 'Cause death could not hold you down. 'Cause you are forever. Yeah, yeah. You are. 'Cause your throne is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. It's our throne is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah, 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 yeah. Forever and ever and ever. Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Oh God, forever and ever. Your mercies are forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sing it again. Your throne is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Oh God, yeah, yeah. Hey, your throne is forever and ever and ever, forever and ever. 'Cause your throne is forever. So my praise is forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. My praise is forever. My praise is, my praise will be. Your throne is, so my praise is seated in majesty, seated in majesty, forever and ever and ever, 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 seated in majesty, forever and ever, seated in majesty, forever and ever and ever, seated in majesty. For you are our Father, seated in majesty. Yeah. Forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Eh, 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 yeah, oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Forever and ever and ever and ever. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His concentrate on Him and worship Him. So let us forget about ourselves, concentrate on Him and worship Him. Yeah. So let us forget about ourselves, concentrate on Him and worship Christ our Lord. Oh, worship Him, Jesus Christ our Lord. Waiting on You, waiting on You, patiently waiting on You. I'm not worried about the time, 'cause Lord, I seem to find strength while I'm waiting on You. Waiting on You, waiting on You, patiently waiting on You. I'm not worried, I'm not worried about the time. Yeah, God. 'Cause Lord, I seem to find strength while I'm waiting on You. We will wait 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 on You. Get on the mountain, 'cause we will wait on You. Oh Lord, we will wait on You, 'cause You are worth my wait. 'Cause You are worth the wait. Oh, You are worth my wait. Oh, Jesus, You are worth my wait. Oh, so we wait on You. So we wait. Just a piano here. We will wait here, wait here, wait here for you. Just a piano here. We will wait here, wait here, wait here for you. Come on and sing. We will. Shh, say it now. As we will. Oh, sing it again. We will wait here, wait here, wait here. Oh, say it. We will wait here, wait here. Just the voices now. Everybody say, we will wait here, wait here for you. Oh, we will wait here, ready for you. Oh, we will wait here for you. Last time, come on, drums. We will wait here, wait for you. One more time, come on and say, we will. Oh, for the last time. If you have not already, we are going into our summer series, which is entitled Sacred Waiting by David Timms. If you is it not working? Okay. All right, just give me a moment. It's by David Timms. So if you hear and you don't have this book, we do have them, and you can get them right now if you want. But we do have them. But this is going to be the book that we're going to use for the summer, for our summer studies. Really learning to wait in an impatient world. And he said, what the phrase that he likes to use is waiting on God in a world that waits for nothing. That waits for nothing. I think it's very critical at this time in who we are as a church and who we are as human beings in the world, that we learn to wait on God. To wait on God. So I want to go tonight is going to be the introduction to this book, which if you have the book, it starts on page 11. There's not a number there for page 11, but if you see page 12, you will notice that the introduction starts on page 11, which is before 12. Yes, Lord. So we are going to go through, this is basically going to be an introduction into waiting on God, talking about waiting and what is waiting and what potentially does waiting look like in our world today, and what waiting looks like potentially in God. And basically, trying to figure out, are we really waiting on God, or are we waiting on God? So, again, if you have not gotten the book, please go see Elder Tracy right now. You can grab your book, or you can just follow along. The way I broke it down, you'll be fine if you don't, if you do not have it. All right. So let's say this prayer here. It says, Eternal God, who heals my hurts and restores my soul, teach me to wait on you, not for what I might receive, but for what I might give. Still my hurried heart to hear you this day. Somebody shout in Jesus' name. Amen.
got to understand that the author challenges us, challenges the world we live in by, we're good, Charles, thank you. The author challenges the world we live in simply by calling out things that most of us know but don't consider. There are four things that we got to deal with, and that is abstinence programs are limited appeal. We don't really hear too many teachings on abstinence anymore. Back when I was growing up, we heard it every week, all week. If we had a bad thought, the only problem is they just condemned us to hell without really sending us to Christ. So, I almost fell out right there. We ain't even did nothing yet. But that was the only issue. We were more afraid of hell than we were in righteous fear of God. So it created something, I don't know about for everybody, but it created something in me that was not of God, to where I was more in tune with hell than I was with heaven. So we don't hear much about abstinence anymore, but I think it's necessary. It's not a problem that we get back to telling people, hey, you got to wait for marriage. You got to wait. And I know everybody ain't going to say amen, but hey, it's the truth anyhow. We got to get back to waiting, because if we all desire the waiting, then never mind. All right, abstinence programs are limited appeal. That's number one if you're writing. Number two, young couples regularly overextend themselves. Overextend themselves. Young couples. Somebody say young couples regularly overextend themselves. And one thing that we have to be mindful about with that is that if we play house before we get the house, we gonna be overextended when it's time for the house. So we gotta wait to play house until it's time to play house. Okay. That's the second thing. The third thing that we gathered here is families live beyond their means. We live beyond our means. I think the term that was coined was keeping up with the Joneses, or for this generation, the Kardashians. I just can't bring myself to get with that, but it is what it is. But we got to be careful that, what's the challenge in living beyond our means? What's the challenge? Is that we're not willing to wait for stuff. We're not willing, because waiting means you don't have the freshest Jordans. And maybe it's me, but when I was growing up, when I was growing up, we listen. At one point, when my father was one of the biggest, baddest drug dealers there was, everything was really, really, it was Gucci. But when that stopped, Christmas wasn't until January. And I'm in the introduction. Yeah, I'm right here. When you get your book, you'll see. I'm in the introduction. So what did that do? That created a sense. It created a sense of. I got you on half of that. I got you on that. You can go get it. Go ahead. It created this sense of. What's the word I'm looking for? It created this sense of learning how to wait for things. And, for the first couple of years, it was a strain because you go to school and everybody got all this new stuff. But then eventually you don't care because, you just kind of shift your mind. When everybody else stuff run out, my new stuff is coming, So it created something different. But then I just began to, at that age, learning how to wait because I understood Mama didn't have it at the moment. So, rather than her overextend herself and buy all this stuff for the sake of a holiday, we had to learn how to wait as children. And I guarantee you, if you teach your child how to wait on some things, they will not die. Amen. Now, if you spare that rod. So anyway, number 4, if you're writing, shaking off restraint and embrace a stunning degree of materialism and consumerism and hedonism. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, that's right. These two words are enemies of waiting: consumerism and hedonism. Okay, these are two words that are simply enemies of waiting. Somebody say they're enemies of waiting. Consumerism is defined, the definition of consumerism is the protection of the rights and interest of the general pool of buyers, or, watch this, an obsession with buying material goods or items. Laws and rules that protect people who shop and spend are examples of consumerism. An obsession with shopping and acquiring stuff is an example of consumerism, and many of us are falling to this. We're following to this demonic beast that have you spending money that you can't pay back. I looked at my credit card debt and I said, this is ridiculous, because the way I have messed myself up, it's going to take me 20 years to pay this little money back. Because I should have never spent to begin with if I did not have. Now that word hedonism, I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am though. Hedonism, okay? For those of you with your master's degrees. Hedonism, thank you. Okay, all right, there we go. The pursuit of pleasure, sensual self-indulgence. The synonyms for hedonism is self-indulgence, indulgence, pursuit of pleasure, pleasure-seeking, lotus eating, and self-gratification. These things right here, these two words are the enemy of waiting. Because one, watch this, one will have you so obsessed with stuff. It's my right to spend this money. My credit is good, but you ain't got it. Hedonism will have you messed up because it's really all about you. I need this now. I need to be self-indulged now. I have to do this. So I'm gonna quit talking about people sitting outside. But these are just really major enemies of waiting, because these things will have you in a fast food lane when you ought to be sitting down at J. Alexander's. Y'all catch it later, okay? So you have to make sure that if you are going to if you're going to operate in these two things, when the Father comes and talks to you about waiting, then if you realize that you're in this place, now you can diagnose yourself and say, Father, now I know why I'm kicking and screaming when you told me something, but it don't come to pass in 24 hours. What did we talk about on Saturday? We talked about Israel. The Lord dispersed them, and they wanted to come from that place. They wanted to leave, and even the prophets were prophesying. They were prophesying because they wanted to be out so bad that their minds were so indulged in themselves that they would begin to lie on God. Which helped me to understand that sometimes what I'm declaring is not of God. It is of my own self-gratification. It's the spirit of hedonism. Huh? Oh, they right here. Sorry. Oh, say them again? Oh, okay. All right, now the first point was abstinence programs are limited appeal. That's number one. Number two was young couples regularly overextend themselves. These are the things that are challenging our world today. Number three was families live beyond their means. Number four is shaking off restraint and embrace a stunning degree of materialism, consumerism, and hedonism. All right? Good? Okay. I guess I could have just sent you this. Yeah, I got to get used to that kind of stuff. Yes, so we just got to make sure that when this spirit of, y'all, you're going to hear this all the time now, this spirit of hedonism is really, really taking over the people of God, because we're so indulged in self that we are missing God. Okay, that we're missing God, that this spirit's so strong that it has us lying. not just on ourselves, but on God. And clearly it will blind you because it will have you doing stuff that if you was in your right mind, you wouldn't normally do because of self-gratification. All right? Comfort and pleasure have become our supreme goals in life. And we pursue it, watch this, with credit and debt. We're pursuing the comforts of life. And it's crazy because going through shaking off restraints and embrace the stunning degree of materialism, consumerism, and hedonism. All right. Yes. But these things right here, it's comfort and pleasure have become our supreme goals in life, and we pursue it with credit and debt. And I know we're living in a world to where you can't have nothing, it seems like, without credit and debt. Okay? You just can't have it. And it's like, yes, we're shouting over homes, but now you're $100,000 in. Yeah, it sounds like a lot, and it's crazy. We want to go to school so that we can learn and better our communities. But the better the school, you got to come out of there with $400,000 in debt. And then if you can't find a good job enough to pay those back, now you're in trouble because you have all this debt. So we're living in a society that says, here's all this debt, take the debt, get it now, but then we just go get you later. But what if we built a culture that learned how to wait for things? Literally. Like, what amazing. Listen, in 2006, Americans held about 984 million Visa and MasterCard debt accounts. 3 for every man, woman, and child in the country. That is 3 cards for every man, woman, and child in the country. In 2008, the total consumer debt in the U.S. had reached $2.56 trillion. So in 2006, we were at 984 million Visa and MasterCard accounts. But in 2008, we reached $2.5 trillion in consumer debt. Tell your neighbor, that's crazy. I need you to understand that the book that we are reading now was published in 2009. Somebody say 2009. So in 2019, did I scare you? You should have been, because these numbers I'm about to tell you. We have reached, in 2019, we have reached $4 trillion in consumer debt. And this is according to CNBC.com. So if you want to hear anything about consumer debt and where debt the country in, go there and figure it out. It's all there for you. I had to stop. I was getting depressed looking at it all. Like, this is insane. And they're blaming this what I call a travesty on, number one, holiday spending. They're saying that particularly in November, an increasing credit card debt added more than $41 billion in outstanding balances at the end of 2018. And this was according to LendingTree, a loan comparison website which analyzed the data from the federal government. Watch this. In addition, so the debt here now is $41 billion. In addition, a steady rise in student loan balances, as well as an increase in the cost of automobile financing in the fourth quarter, contributed to another $80 billion. So for the holidays, we were simply going in debt $41 billion for the sake of holidays that for real, us as Christians probably shouldn't even be celebrating. We're celebrating the American. We're celebrating that the people came over. Y'all seen Black Panther, right? We're celebrating the colonizers just coming and stealing the land. And we're teaching our children that this was fine. And we've created gatherings and just ways to spend money around to do this paganistic holidays for what? So that we can go in debt? Now, you can do what you want to do, but why do you have to go in debt for something that you shouldn't even believe in? But Lord forbid somebody asks you to bring an offering to celebrate the Passover. We got an attitude. No. Maybe it's time for the feast days so we can get in order. Like, well, I mean, really, like we would do. And then here come Christmas. Defend it all you want. It ain't got nothing to do with you, Christian or believer or whoever you are, the follower of Christ, whatever. It ain't got nothing to do with you. But we're going broke. I told him a long time ago, I ain't going broke no more for this. If I got it, I got it. If I don't, I don't. We ain't got time for that. And this ain't in my notes, but quit judging people's love based off of what they get you for Christmas. It's Christ-centered. Then that's what we're supposed to be celebrating then, right? Are we celebrating his birth? Great. So why do you have a Christmas tree if we're celebrating his birth? Help me. Just help me. So we're in debt. For especially us saints, we're in debt for stuff that we probably shouldn't have no part in anyhow. I believe that this could have happened because we can't wait and don't even have the means to wait. And this is the attitude that we have. I'll get it, knowing I can't afford it, and try my best to pay it off later. Let me say it again. This is the attitude that we have. I'll get it now, knowing I can't afford it, and try my best to pay it off later. But what if we flip this attitude and we said, I'll save for what I want now and pay for it in cash later? I mean, is it going, I mean, you know, we back in the day, we used to use the expression, we're going to drive these vehicles till the wheels fall off. Now they make a little noise, I need a new one, Lord. Oh, Lord. Now you in the prayer line and you crying and we like, what's wrong with you? My car doing a little knocking, I need a brand new one. Well, you just started paying on this one yesterday. So if your payment $500, only about 40% of that going to your loan, and then the rest of it paying off interest and a little taxes. So really, you got about 30 more years. One of the biggest things that attacked me in my maturity was not willing to wait. Watch this. And not willing to, watch this, if I signed up for something, not willing to wait until I did what I said I was going to do to move on to the next thing. And I'm just trying to help you. This might not be for you, but hear me with this. That was an enemy for me. I couldn't pay off nothing. I get furniture, they come and take it. I get an apartment, can't afford it, they kick me out of it. I get a car, I can't afford it, they attack me. And that was my attack. I cannot get beyond that. I don't care what I did. It was the littlest of things. And finally, I felt that lift off of me one day in prayer. And then all of a sudden, watch this, when God directed me where to go, and then I finally got this truck, and they was like, ain't no way you gonna pay that off. That is crazy, whatever. And 2 years later, they sent me the papers. Why? Because I waited through the process that God told me to go. It seemed impossible. But because God put me there and I waited for God to do whatever it is he was going to do, I was able to have the deed in my hand. So we got to be willing to wait. I'm still in the introduction. I'm probably on page 12, all right? I know this is, I know with the big things that it's hard, like houses and things like that. But what if we did this concept with the little things in our life? You know, what if you, instead of racking up your credit card bill, and again, for Christmas, you establish a budget and save it all year? You know, you want to get your little grandkids little stuff. What if you start in January, $50 a month, and put it in there? So now we just eliminated debt. Because here, if you know you have a budget, and you say, I only got 500 and you got that in cash, you can't go over it. But when you know I got a $10,000 credit card, you just going to be swiping. And you go, oh, I gave Jimmy this little Mickey Mouse toy. And then when you went back to your child's house by Monday, Mickey was toe up. And you still paying for it. Why do we do this? Because we are not willing to wait on the thing. So places like Rent-A-Center is booming because we won't wait. And y'all, they're killing us with the interest. I told y'all this was going to be interesting. Learning to wait could save you time, watch this, and late fees. I was talking to my mortgage company, and they said, listen, dude, you got to be careful, be mindful, because I had some mishaps. And I was like, oh, shoot, my bad, the date went by on me. And he was like, listen, he said, I just want you to hear this so you will never happen to miss this point again. He said, if you are late for the next 2 to 3 years. He said, no. He says, if you are late, let's just say you start paying regularly, normally, and because you was late this one time. He said, if you just keep on paying like normal, he said, when you get done with this loan, you would have paid $35,000 in late fees. I said, I will never be late again. He said, Waymond, do you know how many groceries you can buy with $30,000? I said, sir, $30,000. I'm rich if I got a $30,000 sitting there. Y'all gonna be like, he think he rich. You right. I'm good. I'm settled. Some of y'all like, Lord, I need $1 million. He give me 30. I will go make the $1 million. You know what I mean? And I just thought about it. So if we learn to wait, watch this, wait on God. I'm leading us somewhere. If we learn to wait on God, it will save us time and late fees. I remember one time, my godfather at the time, I had wanted something so bad. I wanted a PSP. Y'all remember PSPs? Remember, Jordan, you remember that PSP I had? I had all types of little movies and games on it. But I wanted it so bad, and he stopped, and he said, listen. He said, I could buy it for you right now. He said, but I need to teach you a lesson, because I was stressing him about it, because I was traveling with him. So my thing was, I don't want no money. Just when I need this little stuff, just handle it, And he was like, I'll get it for you, but I'm going to make you wait. He said, so I'm going to tell you, every time we travel, this is what you get. And then when you gather it, then you know you can get it. I was upset because I wanted it now. Matthew Bracey had already had it, and I needed it now. He showed it to me. I got away from him, and I called. I said, all this traveling we doing, bro? I need this PSP now. Buy it, send it to me. He said, no, clearly you don't have patience, so you're going to have to learn how to wait. And that literally changed my life, just something so simple, because then I started learning how to wait. And then when I started learning how to wait for little things, when God would tell me, no, not yet, I stopped falling out. Now, I would still quiver a little bit, like, ready for this to be over. But it taught me to, if God said no, not yet, what does that tell me? The time is coming. It's just not present. Tell your neighbor, the time is coming. It's just not present. Before credit was so heavy and available, going to the gas station and grocery stores meant you had to pay cash, or folks simply had to wait. Why? Because you didn't have it. Our culture has wearied of waiting. Let's go to page 12 to the second paragraph. Let's go to page 12. The second paragraph says this. Clever advertising fuels the credit craze by insisting that we need not wait for what we want. In fact, we can have it now and pay for it later. Much later in some instances. Much later means we can. Here's the thing. America is in debt now, but Kai generation go out to pay for it. Isn't that crazy to you? How would you feel? And many of us, watch this, being born in the 80s, realize we had electric bills when we got older. Y'all ain't got to talk. Yeah, you realize you go, I want to get a phone in my name. They're like, what you mean? You been had one for 5 years. Ma, boy, why you ain't tell me you was going down there? We've went from telephone calls directly from home to pagers. I got a pager for my 8th grade graduation, y'all. They would page me, but I couldn't call them back. I had to go to the phone booth or I had to run home. Like, y'all be right back. But I got a gift that somebody had to pay $10 a month for, which means I only had it for a few months. Anyway, to cell phones that only call. We went from telephone calls directly from home to pagers, to cell phones that only text, to text messaging. And if that wasn't enough, they had to add apps to communicate with each other. So now we're not only texting, but we're texting via the app, or we're communicating through comments and statuses on different social outlets. We have inboxes and we have DMs. And it seems as if we're losing touch. Because now I don't even have to see you. If you have a iPhone, you can FaceTime or whatever the Androids use. I don't know. I don't know what they use. An Android user had to call me on Facebook today. I said, why are you calling me on Facebook? And I was like, why? And I realized, I said, oh, you got an Android, so you can't. So whatever y'all use, Jamal. Anywho. Quality, but you can't call nobody. All because, watch this, we've literally gone from just being able to run home and say, hey, I'm going to call you at 3:50. Hopefully my mom ain't on the phone. And the worst sound ever is when you finally on the phone with your boo and you hear your mama pressing them buttons. Whoa! Whoa, Charles, whoa! I was like, hey, I gotta go. Because she gonna yell at me, boy, get off my phone, I gotta use it. You know, my grandmother be like, Waymond. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're sorry. Or we're so impatient. Sometimes I had to tell myself, like, Waymond, you used to wait for dial-up 5 whole minutes just to turn the stuff on. Now, if something don't work just like that, I'm taking it back because I'm impatient. So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, yeah. It's hard. And this is the world we're living in, all because we don't want to wait. So everybody is throwing their ideas out there just simply to make things faster. I saw a commercial to where now when you order your food, whoever's waiting on you will be able to press some buttons, and all the machines and computers behind the doors just go grab all your food, bring it through the ceiling, bring it down to you, and it's just go sit there. All because we're trying to find ways to make things faster. And let me tell you, I don't go out to eat with you to eat and leave. I can do that myself. I go out to eat with you so that we can talk, socialize, be face to face. But we're moving so quick that watch this, we have the same 24 hours in the day that our parents have had. But we cannot find time to sit down and have dinner with our children. Something is wrong. Tell your neighbor, something is wrong. That all we feed them is McDonald's, Wendy's, and we get that after we're done. Waiting is our problem. And watch this. Now let's get to it. It's hard to wait on God in a world that doesn't wait. But if we are to maintain our relationship with the Father, waiting is a must because we don't run him, he rules us. Let's say that again. If we are to maintain our relationship with the Father, not this world, but with the Father, waiting is a must because we don't run him. He rules us. In the scriptures, Waiting is not an option, but a mandate. I'm on page 12 in the third paragraph. She's like, what yeah? I'm on the third paragraph on page 12. I'm somewhere in that area. In the scriptures, waiting is not an option, but it's a mandate. The prophet Isaiah declared in Isaiah 40:31. If you have your Bibles, Isaiah 40:31 says, but those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. Watch this. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. That word wait in the Hebrew here means to wait, look for, hope, or expect. So he's saying to us, those who expect in the Lord, those who expect, those who hope, those who look for, those who wait on the Lord, watch this, he will renew their strength. And I love this. He says, to wait or look eagerly for, to lie in wait, for, to wait for, linger for, to collect, bind together, or to be. Watch this. This deals with the action of waiting. When he says, they that wait, when you realize and you look at that word, this deals with the action. Somebody say the action of waiting. In Psalm 62:1, watch this. David declares, my soul waits. Watch this. In silence for God only. From him is my salvation. When you begin to study the word wait there in certain translations, you won't even find it. You won't even, that word, you won't even be able to look it up until you get into certain versions of it, like the King James or the New King James. But the focus on many of the translations is the word silence. Somebody say silence. That word silence there means to be silent, still, repoise, still waiting. Watch this. This deals with the state of being in the waiting. That word repoise is defined as the state, watch this, of rest, sleep, or tranquility. It means to relax, restfulness, stillness. And I love it because I'm like, yes, my soul is in tranquility for God. Watch this. And you got to understand, not for just anybody, but for God only. There is no benefit of waiting on you. The benefits is to wait on God. The state of rest or tranquility. At the end of it all, if you want benefits, you must be mindful of who you are waiting on. You can't use God's benefits and apply it to other places other than God. You hear what I'm saying? It's simple like this. Jesus said, I will leave the 99 and go get the one. So now y'all done stressed all the pastors out. This is Jesus is saying, this is what I will do. This is what I've done. You want the benefit. You must be willing to do what you are supposed to do to the benefit giver. And because we're not patient on God, guess what we are doing? We are running from God, trying to go to McDonald's to get something quick. And guess what? The food ain't even real. Because you don't wait from God. You don't wait for God anymore. So you go to McDonald's, you go to the false prophets, you're going to the wrong things, you're going to the wrong relationships. Why? Because we don't want to wait from God. And then when you find out that stuff is making you sick, you're trying to say, God, where were you? And he said, you never came to me for my benefit. You weren't waiting on me. You were waiting on your flesh. I love this. Isaiah 40, 29, 31. Let's look at that for a moment. He gives, watch this. It says he gives power to the weak. And to those who have no might, he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I love this thought process that Dave, his name is David Guzik. I like reading a lot of his daily devotionals and things like that. If you're ever looking for somebody who sends out devotionals and stuff for your daily empowering. And it says here, he gives power to the weak. He gives power to the weak. After explaining all the greatness and the glory of God, now Isaiah explains another benefit we can receive from our God, that he gives us his great power. Notice who God gives the power to. He gives it to the weak, and those who have no might, he increases their strength. Those who are proud and confident in their own wisdom and strength will receive no strength from God. Even the youth shall faint and be weary. Those who thought themselves to be strong find themselves weak. God's strength is reserved for those who know they are weak and know that they have no might. He even told David, in your weakness, he even told Paul, in your weakness, my strength is made perfect. When you get away from yourself, God can increase. Woo. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. How do we receive this strength from the Lord? We receive it, watch this, as we wait on God. The idea behind waiting on God is not a passive sitting around until the Lord does something. Yes, God gives us strength, but we don't expect it to come as if he were pouring it into us as we passively sit there. He brings it to us as we, watch this, seek him. Look at your neighbor and say, seek God. Tell him again, seek God. Tell him, say, rely on God instead of your own strength. If we are weak, it is because we do not wait on the Lord. Tell your neighbor, check your weakness. Because if we wait on God and he renews our strength, maybe the problem isn't God. Maybe it's because you're not waiting on him. And in the waiting, if it does not mean we sit there idly doing nothing, in the waiting means I'm serving God. Woo. We are also told that we renew our strength. If it is strength that was once received when we first came to the Lord in weakness and no might. Then that strength is renewed as we wait on the Lord. Renew is from the basic meaning to change. It comes to mean to put on afresh. Tell your neighbor you want something fresh. Tell them, say, learn to wait on God. Tell them you want something renewed. Learn to wait on God. Keep putting on fresh strength, which means you have to constantly get rid of your own strength that God's strength may be evident in your life. Watch this. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. This is the measure of strength. This is the measure of strength the Lord gives us, strength to soar above everything else. Oh, y'all ain't catch it. So in a benefit of waiting on God, he's given me the ability and the strength to soar above everything that comes to hinder me. Strength to move forward and progress, watch this, in him. It isn't strength to show off. I'm powerful in God. Ooh. But it's strength to go forward in God. Weak in Isaiah 4:29 and faint in Isaiah 4:30 are the same Hebrew word, which means failure through loss of inherent strength. Weary in Isaiah 40:30 is a different word, which means exhaustion because of the hardness of life. If we are worn out for either reason, God is here to give us strength. Tell your neighbor, God is here to give us strength. But we must be willing to wait on him. Notice the order here because it seems strange. First, we mount up with wings like eagles. Then we run. And finally, we walk. Does this seem out of order? Technically, not at all. First, we recognize that we soar up into heavenly places in Christ Jesus, like he said in Ephesians 2:6. He says, and then we set ourselves on the course to run the race, according to Hebrews 12:1. Then we are in a good place to walk and walk some more. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, we got to wait on God. We got to wait on God. When I realize that my strength potentially is diminishing because my waiting is off. So after you get done throwing up, after you get done manifesting, and after you get done all this, you have to make sure that you don't have a waiting problem. Tell your neighbor, say, check yourself. Jesus. Tell somebody, check yourself. Tell somebody else, check yourself. Waiting on God isn't just sitting, tapping your fingers, killing time, waiting for a bus to arrive, meaning standing by idly until it pulls up. Y'all ever had to wait on the bus? Vet, drive the bus. I used to get sick of waiting on the bus. If you ain't never had to wait for Metro, listen. You want to grow your child up, teach him how to wait on the bus. Because you got to get prepared. Because one thing I learned about Metro, they can come a little early. And they can come a lot of late. And they always want to come late when it's raining. I'm telling you, learning to wait on buses did something for me. Because it taught me I have to learn how to prepare my life. My grandmother used to be, listen, I used to get up and she'd be like, look, you know that bus coming at 6:50? It's 6:30. I'm just getting up. And it was some days I ain't make it. And she said, well, baby, I don't drive. So now I had to get on the 64. When I had a bus that took me straight there. Y'all ain't going to catch me yet. So now I had a straight shot. I've missed it. So now I got to get on the 64. I got to pay for that. Now I got to pay for a transfer. I got to get off downtown. I got to get on the 33. And I got to go all the way to Western Hills. Watch this. And then walk a half a mile to the school when there was a bus designated for me. But I said this to say, you know, the issue is when we're waiting on God, we don't wait idly like waiting for a bus. When you're waiting for a bus, you just got to stand there. Neck hurt. And if you was anything like me, I would walk to the next bus stop. Don't you do that too? You did that too. It was one time I ended up halfway downtown waiting on that bus. It's hot. Tell your neighbor, that's not how we wait on God. Waiting for graduation means counting down the days until you receive a diploma or a degree. But we don't wait for God by counting down the days. We simply wait on God by working through what it is. In that waiting can be, what represents that is what we have to do between the 2 points in time to get what we really want. What really, really defines the difference between just waiting, according to the world waits, and sacred waiting. Sacred waiting, watch this, nothing like waiting for a bus or tapping your fingers, waiting for graduation, or just waiting impatiently. But sacred waiting means I'm waiting on God. Let's go here. Let's go to page 17. Consider this, page 17. Go to the third paragraph where it says sacred waiting, waiting on God is nothing like that. Got it? That sacred waiting is like unto a waiter. And how many people have been to a restaurant and you've had a waiter? Some of y'all I don't like going to restaurants with because y'all be acting crazy, okay? No, sir. Because I don't know what they doing with our food back there. Listen, that sacred waiting, like unto a waiter, watch this, with 2 tasks. Somebody say 2 tasks. The first task, number 1, is the greeting. Let's go to that paragraph. It says the restaurant, for those of you who have a book, page 17, the third paragraph, the restaurant waiter has 2 main tasks. First, greeting us, which may include chatting with us, listening to us. And tell me if you've seen this before at restaurants, and just being present with us. The initial responsibility is to make us feel welcomed, comfortable, and at ease. Waiting on us means being present with us and building a connection with us. All right, albeit briefly, because a waiter is usually waiting on others as well. But we shouldn't overlook this element, watch this, of presence. Somebody say the word presence. This responsibility is to make someone feel welcomed, comfortable, and at ease. Okay, waiting on someone, watch this, means, again, being present, building a connection, even though you might have other responsibilities. And presence should always be in the forefront. Number two is serving. What is another name for a waiter? We call them a server. It's another name for a server. Watch this. They wait on you by attending to every specific request. Watch this. Number 2, meeting a need when they see it. These are the fundamentals of serving. These 2 principles forms the essence, watch this, of waiting on God. Presence and service. Somebody say presence and service. Say it again. Presence and service. Presence is drawing closer to God. Notice the waiter, when you come to their area, they come to you. You sit, but they come to you. If you have to go to them, y'all going to get the manager. Y'all know how you attitudinal folks are. And you just got out of church and you ain't going to the manager like, hey. You like, excuse me. We've been sitting here. Y'all know it. And y'all like, we's going to be free tonight. But what if that was how God treated you? Presence, watch this, is drawing closer to God. Because even though you think God is the waiter, that is not true. When you are dealing with sacred waiting, child, you become the waiter. You are the server. Y'all ain't trying to talk to me. Look at your neighbor and say, you are the server. Which means you got to be willing to deal with the presence and draw to God. God, I'm waiting on you, but I'm coming your way. When David needed God, because everybody had died, he didn't sit there and say, God, I'm waiting on you. The Bible said he put his ephod on, and he cried out to God, and he prayed to God, and God gave him the answer. He went to God. I'm waiting on God. How are you waiting? Sitting there doing nothing ain't sacred waiting. You just waiting. Oh, okay. And then magically you get an answer, but you ain't waited on God. Oh. Tell your neighbor, draw closer to God. These two words have to run rampant in our life, presence and service. In the presence, you must draw closer to God. Service, watch this, is responding to his leading. Go to page 18. Come on, Charles, I'm done. Go to page 18. We are not watching the clock. We are not counting down to some particular event or calling. Rather, a lifetime of waiting on God reflects a lifetime of simple presence and service. Along the way, y'all on page 18, second paragraph. Along the way, a great many things happen. The Father makes requests that may take a lot of time. Get you to understand that. You ever been to a restaurant and everybody ordered their food and your food hadn't come out yet? And they said to you, well, it takes a lot longer for your steak to get done. But sometimes you got to be willing to wait on God. And he might put an impossible task where you say, God, what is it that you want? See, in this waiting on God, you really want to serve him. So whatever it is, his desire, that's what you got to be willing to get. I'm in this assignment because God put me in this assignment. And if this assignment takes 20 years, then I have to be willing to wait on it because my pleasure is to serve God. No matter how long it takes, that's my pleasure. Imagine if Israel, when God would have said 17 years, they would have just bowed out and said, okay, 17 years. It is my pleasure. Whew, that's deep, y'all. It's that bond with God. Could you imagine that bond with God? To really, really say to God, like, hey, God. And he say to you something you probably don't even like, and you just bow out. It's my pleasure. The greatest thing I've ever seen in life is literally a pregnant woman who is a waiter at a restaurant. 7 months pregnant. If you ain't never seen her happen, and you seen that woman that was pregnant like that and had her life together, and how may I help you? Get your food. Make sure you got your drink because you know you need 40 drinks from the bar because you got a specialty. But guess what? It's still her pleasure. Even though it might be the end of the shift and they close at 9 and 20 of y'all done walked in at 8:40. Now you mad because she tired, but she keep working because it's her pleasure. I'm a server. It's what I do. And God comes in and he gives you a task that seems impossible. And you're like, but Lord, I'm sick of people. And he say, that's fine. Go over there and work. Take care of my people. When you're involved with sacred waiting and sacred serving to God, you're willing to just bow out and say, it's my pleasure. Get your notepad, and maybe you can change your prayer. Maybe your prayer now shouldn't be, Lord, give me, and just say, Lord, what do you want? Get your notepad. Lord, what do you want from me? And what? Then I'm telling you, you start doing what he wants. You're going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. I got a big tip. Y'all wasn't ready. He said they that wait on God, they that serve him. Watch this. There's the tip. They go mount up with wings as eagles. He gonna renew their strength. And like this the tip, this the benefit. There is benefits, watch this, from sacred waiting. Sacred waiting means serving him. Responding to his leading. And then it says, along the way, a great many things happen. Page 18. The fathers make requests. The Father makes requests that may take a lot of time. He makes promises without delineating, yes, time frames. Yes, Lord. He remains relatively silent for long periods. Amen. You've been with him long enough. You've been there. Lord, Lord. Bruh. Hello? Where the echo, Jordan? Hello? Hello? Is it just me? Is this thing on? Hello? God, you see me struggling? You see these folk doing what they doing to me? Hello? You treat God like you treat Adam. God, where art thou? He refrains. Watch this. Nevertheless, the deeper spiritual journey, sacred waiting, leads us to the classic vocation of a table waiter. His presence with us and his service to us. In the chapters to follow, these two criteria will dominate our definition of waiting. We'll learn to steer away from the toe-tapping impatience that waiting usually invokes from us. And we'll learn to embrace presence and service, watch this, in a fresh way. Such an embrace will take us a long way toward minimizing the impatience and frustration we may feel in our faith and maximizing the joy and peace of his table. It is an honor to, and I'm done. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to say, I serve God. I don't care what you are doing. If it is not to serve God, it is going to tear you apart and it's going to run you rampant. But when you take a fresh look at that thing and say, God, every time I preach, I'm in service to you. Every time I open the door, I'm in service to you. Every time I grill in the rain, I'm in service to you. Matter of fact, I'll just go all the way. If I'm playing kickball with these kids, I'm in service to you. Everything I'm doing, when it's done in service to God, ain't no devil in hell gonna keep me from doing my service. Why? Because it's my privilege and it's my pleasure to serve God. What do you want, God? How do you want it, God? You want a drink now or you want it with your meal? How you like your steak? You like it well done or medium rare? How do you want it? You want a new drink? Oh, you made a mess. I got that too. What do you need? God, I'm weary, I'm broken. So God, here's my sacred waiting. I'm no longer impatient, but I'm waiting. Oh, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, it's time for you to serve God again. You've been at this long enough. It's time for you to serve God again. Maybe you're drowning because you're not waiting. Maybe you're hurting because you're not serving. Push your neighbor, say, neighbor, it's time for you to serve. It's time for you to serve again. I know it's a business, but we as people of God got to get back to serving in what we do.
Yes, they gave you $30, but guess what? It's your service. Ain't nobody gotta force me to worship. That's my reasonable service. I dare you to go ahead and give God a shout right there and say, God, help me with my service. I need to be retrained, Lord. I need to be retrained. Start me over. Send me back to the training so that I can get weary, so I don't get weary in my well-doing. Father, here's my service. I dare you to just walk out your aisle, put your hand behind your back and say, how may I help you, sir? How may I help you? What is it that you need? How do you need it? What you want me to do? How you want me to do it? I know that sounds crazy. No cheese or macaroni and cheese. But if that's what you want, I'll give it to you. You want a cheeseless pizza? That's all right. Why? Because I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve. And when I'm here to serve, baby, if I'm tired, guess what? Somebody shout, I'll keep serving. What y'all stop walking for? I'll keep serving. I'll keep serving. I'm hurting. My marriage is hurting. My life is hurting. God, but watch me serve. Why would you serve? Let me tell you why. Because there's a tip coming at the end, and I'm going to mount up. There's a benefit from waiting on God. There's a benefit from waiting on God. I dare you to shout, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, Jesus, to walk in the gifts you gave to me. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. The pleasure's all mine, Jesus. Oh, I'll serve your Lord. Yes, God, it's my pleasure. Yeah, we'll serve you, Lord. It's my pleasure. Can't even enjoy the brighter days. But Lord, I feel it turning, Jesus, because I'll wait on you, Jesus. I'll serve you, Lord. I'll serve you, Lord, with gladness. No longer will I say, Lord, what can you do for me? But in my sacred waiting, Lord, what can I do for you? How may I serve you? How may I help you, Jesus? What's your will? What's your desire, Lord? What do you have for me to do, Lord? And every word that proceedeth from your mouth, it is well.
Father, help us in our waiting. We're no longer just waiting impatiently and tapping our hands and just hurry. God, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Do it, do it, do it. God, do it now. Hurry up. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, God. We are no longer children. We sound like mere children, God. We just sound like we're just, God, help us. Help us to grow up and mature. Help us. But Father, we exchange that for this sacred waiting in serving you. And if we're all to be ministers of the gospel, this level of serving should be a part of us. So you're called and you're anointed, but you have a serving problem. You have serving-itis, and you need a cure. But that cure is a changed mind. To say, God, now I wait on you. What is it that you want? You want to cure it? Change your mind. $1 million ain't gonna fix what you got a problem with. It's just gonna make it worse. But when you know how to serve God, when He give you the money, you'll know how to do right with it. So Father, we say thank you for your grace to allow us to understand that we are going to be in service to you. Come on, if you know tonight that something done touched your mind and you like, man, I'm about to change the way I do things. Come on, I dare you to just go ahead and give God some worship right there. Come on, just magnify Him and lift Him up. Praise, glory, and honor because it is due His name. It is late. We have exceeded our time here. So if you have not yet got your book, please. Elder Tracy got those books. The church is paying part of the book. We're paying a third of the book. So see Elder Tracy after the service, and you can get your book. They are, I believe, $15 online. So if you want to grab one, go grab it. But we are going to, the church is going to take on $5 of that for you. And we've already ordered some, so you will only pay $10 for them. Somebody say amen. Next week, we're going to dive right into chapter 1. And our praise team will be singing next week. Somebody say amen. They'll be singing on the 3rd Wednesday and now the 4th Wednesday. Amen. So they will be here to do that next week. So make sure you bring a friend, bring somebody, and we're in this thing. We're in our brighter days, and we go learn how to sit. We go learn how to really get into this sacred waiting. So I'm learning. So, amen. Hug your neighbor real quick, and we're going to take up the offering. Hug them. Thank you to our online audience for coming to us tonight. Please visit our website, revivalcenter@cincy.org. Look around. Touch everything there. Click on everything. Talking about new members. You come into town to visit, you can fill out a form. So we'll be here waiting for you. You can see what classes we are teaching and what classes are happening at the center as well. God bless your life, and thank you for coming.